this morning we had some time allocated, and I asked Carly if she would interview me in any way she wants to, like Barbara Walters, make me cry, or it could be dangerous, we don't know. But we're going to do that. So Carly, let's sit down and talk. Let's go.
Have a conversation.
Go. Carly, by the way, is a celebrated writer in addition to many of her different talents. If you go to Core 77, you can check out her work. She's very active out there.
I am.
Sure are. Hi, Carly.
Hello.
This is a surprise.
So I received a text this morning, a few hours ago, asking if I would interview John here today, which was not a surprise, to be quite honest. I've become very accustomed to the wild card mentality
I'm
of
getting
JohnMaeda.
scared now. Go ahead.
But you tweeted at a lot of students at RISD during your time there, didn't you?
You knew that? Yeah, I did that. I did.
You did do that.
Yeah.
And it was kind of a different way of communicating than kind of that pale, stale, somewhat male mentality that we mentioned earlier today from Phil.
Well, it was a way to look, I mean, I believed in kind of like a arm's length distance, but I had this social media thing, so I could be very close, so good way to see people.
And it's a language that speaks to a very specific audience, like the students who were at RISD at the time. But it's not necessarily a language that a lot of other people subscribe to. Not everyone subscribes to that type of communication.
At the time, nobody did.
At the time, you might think it was strange, maybe, to get a text from the president on your phone.
I was worried that maybe I didn't contact legal and I did something wrong.
Fortunately, everything seemed to turn out relatively okay. But it's this type of communicating that is different than the way people were communicating before. It's kind of this level of accessibility that doesn't come as naturally through other methods of communication. And now with the internet and with all these new ways of communicating, you can get in touch with anyone, anywhere, anytime on a very flat level.
Well, I like how we had that village moment, because Chester wasn't sure if he was talking on stage,
Yeah.
But thank you, Dr. David Ballard, for tweeting out that it actually happened, so magic.
This is very magical. But it's a bit of this hybrid communication of being physical and digital and having these conversations with people that you're not in the same place as them, and you're finding them, and you're meeting them, and you're collecting them and talking to them. And it's part of this new way of stepping into this new hybrid that we are. And I think I typically describe myself as a specialized generalist or generalized specialist, which generally means a lot of different things. And it's something that you're very familiar with as well, especially.
What kind of face do people make when you say that to them?
Usually they scrunch it up really small, and they stare at me and expect me to elaborate on that, and I usually don't.
Mysterious.
It's an attribute, yeah. But you somewhat subscribe to this hybrid lifestyle.
Yeah.
I mean, from your time at RISD, where you were communicating in a way that only a very specific group of people were communicating, and then stepping out from RISD, moving to the world of venture capital, a lot of people would ask you, why would you do something like that? Why would you leave this world of mythical beings, which never let them call it magic, as Mike Montiero says, but this world of art and design where people are making things with their hands and doing all these different things, and you've stepped out and done something totally different, which is something a lot of my peers do, something that I am very familiar with. And what is that like?
Well, it all came because I always feel that when you know too much, you get stupid. And I was at this curriculum committee meeting at MIT, where MIT has this curriculum committee that meets every 10 years for 3 years to come to the same conclusion: the curriculum is just awesome.
Yeah.
And it kind of concludes. But there were these students on the committee, and we were talking about freshman advising and helping students' future careers, et cetera. And MIT had recently brought in all these professional counselors, and we were faculty. We're saying, this is such a bad idea. We have to help them. We're the MIT professors. And the young woman got up, the student got up, looked at all of us and said, what do you mean you're going to help us with our future careers? You all don't have real jobs. I was like, whoa.
Students are the worst.
I think she's right. So I've been escaping to find a real job ever since.
And I guess I would say you somewhat subscribe to the life of the millennial, which I describe myself as a specialized generalist, generalized specialist. People call me a millennial. I guess I'm a little bit of both, I like to think. But you're a little bit of both as well.
Well, maybe I try to act younger, you know. People like think maybe I have gray hair, so I'm not a millennial. So I say I believe in millennials. I'm trying to be with your values, like Philip was saying. I understand your culture, or I aspire to understand it. I think it is a hybrid way of being.
What does it mean to be a millennial?
I think
Aside from the year you're born.
I think it's reconciling the fact that that stable world that we knew growing up in my generation doesn't exist for your generation. And so this very clear path is gone. And I think everyone in the room feels that nowadays, no matter what age you are. So I think that you are in it much deeper than we are, and I appreciate how you look at it.
Yeah, it used to be that you'd go to college, you'd graduate, or even go to high school, knew that you were going to college, knew exactly what career you would have. And now that doesn't seem to be so much of the case. It's kind of this big bowl of spaghetti that people just give you, and then it's up to you to connect one end to the other end, and then whatever else happens in between is kind of just this mass of noodles.
You have time for one last question to John.
One last question to John?
Yeah, go ahead.
What's next?
Oh, that's the tough one. I'm coughing now. I'm very curious about the startup world. Yeah. I've gotten to see what it does, how it works, and I think I want to be in that world somehow. That's my interest now. Yeah. So thank you for your interview. You have any closing thoughts for the audience?
All the thoughts. I have all the thoughts for the audience. Yeah. Be a hybrid. Explore new mediums. Follow new paths and enjoy your giant bowl of noodles.
Enjoy your giant bowl of noodles. Thank you, Carly. Thank you.
Thank you.